Now, the government has brought in 2 ordinances to extend the tenure of CBI and ED chiefs to up to 5 years. The chiefs of the central agencies currently have a 2-year tenure, and both the ordinances have been signed off already by the President. The chiefs of the top agencies can be given extensions as per the ordinance every year for up to 3 years, and after they complete their 2-year term. Arvind Kunasekar joins us for the very latest on this. Arvind, at a time when there is so much controversy in the country regarding the leadership in both ED and CBI, and the opposition has targeted them over trying to toe the government line, how is this going to impact the functioning of these 2 agencies?
Sonal, like you mentioned, the government has brought in 2 ordinances, one for CBI director and another one for ED director, to extend their tenures up to 5 years. Earlier, the tenure, as per the CBC Act and also the DSP Act, the Act clearly says that earlier Act said that the tenure should be, both the CBI director and also the ED director, they should have a minimum tenure of 2 years. Now the government has brought in an ordinance to extend it up to 5 years. So after the 2-year appointment order, their tenure can be extended for 3 years. That is, for every year it can be extended for 1 year, another 1 year, and another 1 year. In total, there can be 3 extensions of 1 year plus 2 years appointment. So in total, a CBI director and ED director can have a tenure of up to 5 years. So this is an ordinance. The amendment has been made to the CBC Act and also to the DSP Act, and the amendment has been done through the ordinance. So why was the ordinance brought in now? Because the current ED director's tenure, the extended tenure of the ED director, is getting over on November 17th. So in order to give an extension, further extension to him, the government had to make this amendment to the CBC Act, and for the CBI director, they had to make this amendment to the DSP Act. So that's why, in order to give a further extension to the ED director, the government has brought in this particular ordinance so that the ED director's tenure can be extended for 1 more year. Already the ED director has completed 3 years tenure. Now 1 more year, a further extension of 1 more year, and another 1 more year can also be given to both CBI director and also ED director. So why this ordinance? Because recently, when there was a petition before the Supreme Court challenging the extended tenure of ED director, the Supreme Court in that particular judgment said that the extension should be given only in an exceptional and also rare cases. So in order to circumvent the Supreme Court order also, and also in order to extend the tenure of both CBI director and ED director, now the government has brought in this particular ordinance that they're extending their tenure. Because earlier, what is important to note here is that the opposition parties have already been accusing of both the agencies of targeting only the political opponents, and now this extensions have been given. So we have to wait and watch what will be the interpretation of the Supreme Court, if at all, if these ordinances are being challenged within the Supreme Court.
All right, thanks, Arvind, for joining us for the very latest. Let's also take it forward with our guest now. Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, and ML Sharma both join us on the phone line. ML Sharma is a former CBI Special Director as well. Sanjay Hegde, your first thoughts on this ordinance? All right, let me try and see if ML Sharma is on the phone line with us. Sir, go ahead with your first comments.
Yes, I have seen the ordinances. Now, the decision of the government has positive dimensions as well as negative dimensions. In America, it's the privilege of the President of United States to appoint FBI Director and CIA Director. He can appoint them for unlimited number of years. Unlike that, in India, you see, a director can be appointed only till such time as he attains the age of superannuation. Later, of course, the whole thing was fine-tuned, and amendments were brought in to the fact that once appointed, he will continue in that position minimum for 2 years. Now here, the term of a director CBI, and for that matter, director ED is liable to be extended by 1 year, and another 1 year, 5 years in total. Now, positive thing is that an officer who is appointed as director either of CBI or ED would have a long tenure, and this has administrative advantages. But in the Indian scenario, it also has, negative implications. See, thing is, I won't mind if the government directly in first go appoint somebody as director CBI, director ED for 5 years. I don't mind that. But here, to keep him on tenterhooks, 2 years, and then another 1 year, then another 1 year, then another 1 year. Now, this is a very ugly situation in the Indian context. The allegations that are being made are that extensions are given only when the government expects certain kind of acts from these important personalities. This appears to have some merit, in my view. So whatever has been done by the government can't be undone, but it's not a very healthy kind of a thing. Another important thing that is totally missing in the ordinances is what will happen to the age of superannuation of the people concerned. Now, generally, people superannuate at the age of 60. Now, you have given him 2 years irrespective of the age of superannuation. Then he is already 60 or 60 and a half. Another 1 year, another 1 year, another 1 year. So it's a kind of benefit that is being given to these officers for which the government, of course, would expect certain favors or certain kinds of actions. Overall, my view is that even though long tenures are good in these positions, but they should be given in first instance itself. And extension, he makes these officers totally dependent on the government. India, as it is in the bureaucracy, we have a culture of sycophancy. This culture will further increase. There is another dimension. These extensions can be given by the government on the recommendation of the committee. Take, for example, the Director CBI. Committee consists of the Vigilance Commission, which has chairman and 2 members, plus Home Secretary, plus Secretary Personnel. Now, nobody wants to retire after 2 years, not even 3 years, not even 4 years. Everyone would like to retire only after 5 years tenure. So he'll be subservient not only to the political powers, but also to the members of the committee. That is the 3 members of the Vigilance Commission, plus the Home Secretary, plus the Secretary Personnel. Now, I therefore feel that overall, considering all aspects, it will compromise the independence of the Director CBI, and by the very same logic, independence of the Director ED. So it's these amendments are a mixed bag. I mean, frankly, overall, according to me, it's not a very healthy trend that has been displayed, healthy trend of governance that has been displayed in these ordinances.
I see. All right. Thanks so much for that detailed explanation over there, Mr. Sharma. And you're right indeed on when you're pointing out some of the issues over there. Let me get another view. We also have Sanjay Hegde with us on the phone line. Sir, go ahead with your views about these ordinances.
Well, these ordinances are, in a manner of speaking, destructive of independence of the agencies. If they are crucially timed to give certain people an extension, and the perception is that those institutions have been favoring the government of the day, this becomes a I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of situation. That being said, the government has a right. The government has a right to pass any legislation. An ordinance is a species of legislation. The real question is, why do you need to get everything through ordinance? Why do you could have very well waited for Parliament, and especially when the impact is to increase the tenure by from 2 years to up to 5 years, it will raise a lot of questions. But this is a government which, as a matter of policy, seems to give extensions to people whom it favors. Even in the state of Gujarat, there is a particular bureaucrat who's there after about 7 extensions. This reminds me of Sir Humphrey Appleby's dictum that permanence is power. So when you make people in crucial agencies permanently employed at your pleasure, the agencies might tend to suffer in credibility.
All right, Sanjay Hegde, thank you so much for joining us with those views.